Good afternoon. Welcome to our parents webinar where today we are going to be discussing supporting your child with phonics, your foundation stage child. And I'm delighted to introduce to you Miss Chelsie, who is an FS2 teacher here at Victory Heights, who is going to be joining us now. Hello, Miss Chelsie.
Hi, Mr. Rothwell.
And Miss Chelsie, you're going to be talking to us very specifically about supporting foundation stage children with their phonics, aren't you? And I believe you have a presentation to share as well with our parents.
Yes, I'm going to be talking about supporting your child if they're in FS1 and in FS2, what we do in school and some strategies to help at home. So if we are ready.
Just for you parents, if you want to leave us any comment or you want to add to the live chat, which is down there to the right of your screen, feel free to leave any questions and we will hopefully have time at the end to address them. So Miss Chelsie, I believe you need to share your screen.
Yeah, I'll do that now. Oh. Perfect. Okay. Perfect.
There we go. See you soon, Miss Chelsie.
Thank you, Mr. Rothwell. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I am going to be just talking about phonics in FS. I'll briefly talk about phonics in FS1, and then I'll go into more depth about phonics in FS2 and any strategies that we do in school that you can do at home. As Mr. Rothwell said, if there's any questions that you have, please write them in the chat group, and then I'll try and answer as many questions as I can at the end. Okay, so phonics. Phonics is extremely important in FS. It is the start of a child's reading and writing, so it is really important. In school, we follow the letters and sounds framework, and letters and sounds just helps us understand the importance of phonics, to get an idea of how phonics is taught in the school, and understand the progression through the phonic phases. And there is a lot of technical terms when we talk about phonics. You might have noticed on seesaw posts and things like that. So I will be talking and just explaining all the technical terms as well. So today we're going to be focusing on phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. And then I'll talk briefly about phonics into year 1. Okay. So why phonics? The aim is to secure essential phonics knowledge and skills so that children can progress quickly to independent reading and writing. Phonics is all about reading. Quite a few people tend to think phonics is about writing, but it's really mainly based about reading. We really need to get our children secure in phonics if we expect them to progress in their reading. And it is like a code. It is very hard, and it does take a lot of repetition and just a lot of repetition. But it gives us the skill of blending and segmenting, and it focuses on reading. Okay. So phase 1 phonics. Phase 1 is mainly taught in FS1. This is where the phase 1 phonics starts. It focuses on sounds in the environment, and children will be also exposed to lots of different types of print. But it is mainly about going on listening walks, hearing what sounds they can hear in the environment, focusing on what noises objects make, and seeing if they can make that relationship. Okay, so to develop and increase vocabulary through speaking and listening activities, develop phonological awareness, distinguish between sounds. They need to know what sound an object makes. So I know in FS1 they go on lots of listening walks. They walk around the school, listening for the cars, the birds, the trees, and seeing if they can identify what those sounds are. That is a key part of phase 1 phonics, is putting a name to a sound. Okay, to speak clearly and audibly with confidence and control, and to become familiar with rhyme, rhythm and alliteration. Phonics is not just about knowing the letters of the alphabet. It is a lot more about the rhyme, the rhythm, the alliteration, the phonological awareness, understanding what the sounds are. Okay, we lose a lot of sound talk to segment words into phonemes. So a lot of robot talk. You might hear some of your teachers say, right, robot it out. So I'll go into more depth about that in a bit. So some example activities that you could do at home is listening walks. Whenever you are out and about, ask them what can your child hear? Can they hear the cars? Can they hear, oh, what's that beeping? Where's that beeping coming from? is coming from a car. And it's just bringing all that language and that communication and just having a chat with your child about what they can hear. This forms the base of phase 1 phonics. So it is really, really important to focus on this stage before you move on to introducing letter sounds or letter names to the children. Children will be exposed to all types of print. Storytelling is really important, and rereading familiar stories is also very important. This supports the children's storytelling abilities and whether they can remember a storyline and be able to retell that story, which is a main focus in FS2. Okay, so here is the overall curriculum really for letters and sounds for phase 1. I can send a copy of this to Miss Kelly so she can attach it to the weekly blurb, and I will also send it to Miss Sasha, so if anyone else wants in FS2 needs a copy. But it literally breaks down phase 1, and there's lots of activities that you can do at home to support your child in phonics. Okay, right, I'll briefly go on to phase 2. So phase 2 is where in FS1 they usually start it around about the 2nd or 3rd term, and then in FS2 we recap, we start it in September and we go through. So phase 2 is where we start introducing the letter sounds to the children. So the letters are in sets, so set 1 to 5, and we tend to do a new sound every day, and we focus on that sound, and we go into depth. We sing a song about it. We have an action. We then think of words that begin with that sound, and then we read words starting with that sound as well. We currently follow the KTC phonic program to teach phonics, and it's literally about repetition. Okay, I've also put the link for the Jolly Phonics Rhymes, and this is really, really, really good to help your child remember some of the letter sounds. There's actions to it as well, because like this is a slither of a snake, and an is an . So you might see some of your children doing it already. We play them constantly in school. It really, really does help the children make that link between the action and the letter sound. So if you want to play it at home, please, we really do encourage that. It also shows you the pure sounds, so that we're not going p, we're going. So it's just making sure that we are teaching the children how to say these sounds correctly so that they don't fall into any bad habits. But yeah, so at the moment in FS2, we are currently finishing set 5. So we have made progress from set 1 all the way down to set 5. And we will recap these daily. It's on a daily, phonics is daily, and we do it every single day, recapping before lunch as well, before they go and wash their hands. So just they really need to learn those letter sounds. Okay, technical vocabulary. I know on a few of my parents have said, oh, what's segmenting, what's blending, when we talk about it, when we are writing on Seesaw or telling you how your child is reading. So orally blending is hearing a series of spoken sounds and merging them together to make a spoken word. And so no text is used. You don't show them any letters. So I, for example, do this before the children go for lunch. So I say, right, so and so, what's this? But us, and they have to blend the word together, and they say bus. So that is oral blending. So if I say cut at, your child will then be able to go cat. Okay. Blending is recognizing the letter sounds in a written word. For example, cut up, and seeing those letters, so the CUP, and then merging or synthesizing them together in the order which they are written to pronounce the word cup. Okay, and then segmenting is identifying the individual sounds in a spoken word, so h, I, or b, at, and writing down or manipulating the letters for each sound to form the word him or bat. Okay, and when we do segmenting, another word we always use is to robot your word. So we'll go cut at cat. So we robot the word, so cut at, and then we blend, and we always do this action. We blend the sounds together. So when you are doing any reading with your child, if they are struggling, if you say robot the word, blend the word, that will help them out. Okay, so Orally blended and segmented is the most important skill. I can't reiterate it enough. It is really, really important that children can orally blend and segment before they even recognise letter sounds. They need to be able to blend those sounds together. If they can't hear, identify or blend the sounds in the words, and it has a huge impact on their reading skills and then hinders their writing. And that's a picture of Indy from last year, writing some CBC words. But it is so important that you are blending and segmenting as often as you can, so that children hear it and then apply those skills. Okay, so this is Kiva from my class last year. So I'm going to play the video. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the sound. And it's just going to give you an example of how the children use robot arms as a strategy to support reading. Ooh.
Can you orally segment and blend that word for me, please?
Dad.
Good girl. Right, can you do that one?
Rat.
Well done.
Son.
Good girl.
Mat. Got.
Good girl.
Man.
Ooh.
Net.
Good girl. Well done, Kiva.
That was an example of just Kiva using her robot arms to support her reading. So if your child is struggling with the CBC word in their reading book, please encourage them to use their robot arms to help them. Okay, so here are a few activities. I'm just going to show you some things that you can do at home to support your child. So in class, we use lots of picture cards with just simple CBC words. So box, man, jam, and zip. And then I would ask the child, you can go and run and put them all around your house or all around the playground. And I'd be like, right, run to the zip. And they'd be like, zip. And they'd have to run and find the zip picture. The same with, and you can do these with jumping in 3 hoops. So you can have them have 3 hoops. You can have a picture card at the end, and they have to segment that word. So they could jump in 1 hoop and say j, jump in another a, jump in another and then blend the word together and say jam. Okay. We also love to use fly swatters. So again, with your picture cards, putting them down on the carpet, and I'm going to have 2 children against each other and say, right, can you find me the zip? And it's the first one to hit the zip. So it's quite a fun game to play. They love playing against me and seeing if they can beat me. So it's quite a nice one to play. What else have we got? Spray bottles and spray the correct word or the correct picture. This is like amazing for the kids. It's literally just a spray bottle with water and I put glitter in, but I call it my magic spray, and they love it. So I just ask them to spray either the correct picture, or if you want to use words, the correct words. They just have to spray what word I am segmenting, and they have to blend it together. But yes, orally blending and segmenting is all about constant repetition. You have to do it all the time. As it says, game in the car while you're driving to school. Can you see the bus? Can you see the man? And see if they can just blend it. It can be quite tedious because you tend to focus quite a lot of time on it. But something happens in the children, they just click and they just get it. So all your hard work will be worth it. Okay, so reading. Reading is extremely important in FS. In FS1, you can focus on reading your child's library book and exposing your child to different books. And this will support your child's imagination and their comprehension skills. They can answer questions about the book that they have just listened to, and this will then help them when they come into FS2, when we start to retell stories and we start to write our stories. They really, really need to build up upon their imagination. The better their imagination is, the better their stories tend to be, because they can make their own up. So we really, really do try and encourage lots of reading of books, reading a library book or a book every single night before they go to bed will support this. In FS2, your child needs to read one of the books that we send home every single day, even if it's just 1 or 2 pages, or you're just doing letter matching game. They really need to read every single day. It really does help. It can be quite you might not have time, but 5 minutes is all they need just to read a page of their book. Okay, your child also needs to read every day because they need to practice orally blending and segmenting and building their comprehension skills. So they need phonics to support their reading, and then use the picture as a clue. Please, this isn't cheating. Let them tell you what's happening in the pictures. Let them say what they think is going to happen in the story, even if it's something outrageous. They are thinking and using their imagination, and they are making it up. So that really does support their reading. Predicting the word from the content, especially in our Lilac book, where we have a word written. So on here I have box. I'd be like, well, where's the box in the picture? Can you find that box? So they're using that. Questioning, asking who, what, why, where questions constantly throughout the book. This really helps with building their comprehension skills. It really doesn't matter if they can read all the words in every single book. If they can't tell you what they've just read, then they won't be making any progress. Okay, so reading requires 2 skills: the ability to recognize words presented in and out of content, and the blend the letters together. As I said, they really need to focus on their understanding and their comprehension skills. They need to understand what a word is and what a full sentence means. So once they've segmented and blended each of those words, they need to then go back and reread that sentence all together so they understand that that is a sentence. Okay, so phase 3 in FS2, we are going to be starting phase 3 next week. So we move on to a new set of letters and we introduce the consonant digraphs. So set 6 and set 7 are the initial letters, and then it'll be z and qu, and then the consonant digraphs are the ch, sh, sounds, and then the vowel digraphs are the a, e, I, o, u, and o, ow, oi, your, as in pure, and sounds. Okay, so the consonant digraphs are 2 letters that make one sound. We tend to call them best friends, and then the vowel digraphs as well. So yeah, we go through all of those again. Like phase 2, there's a song for every letter sound, and consonant digraphs and vowel digraph. Okay, so tricky words. We have started sending home tricky words in FS2. We will go up to phase 4 in FS2, and then phase 5 goes into year 1. Tricky words are, as they say in the name, tricky. The children cannot sound them out. They just have to learn them by sight. It's something that it just needs to be rote taught. They just need to learn them by sight. Please don't encourage your child to sound them out, because then that confuses them. So when you've got the word 2, you can't go t, because they go ta, and then you're just like, no, it's 2. And so they just need to know that they have to learn those words by sight. So they're all the tricky words. So they have to be learned by sight. A good game is flashcards, post-its, writing them on post-its and sticking them around the house. So when you're having dinner, and they can be on the table and things like that. Quite a few of my parents last year had them stuck above their bed, or so when they got up in the morning, they said, what's this tricky word? And so that's a good idea. Write them in chalk on the ground outside, in your outside area, and then using magic paint or your magic spray to go and spray the word this, spray the word I, and things like that. And then using magnetic letters and making them out of letters on the fridge. Okay, so Joshua in FS2 Violet did a lovely activity with his mum on tricky words. It's a simple matching activity, but I thought it'd be lovely for you to share, for me to share with you something that you could do at home.
Okay, what does that say?
No.
Yes.
The.
Good.
2.
Good.
I.
Yes.
Go in.
Check if the go is there, or is it just another word by itself? Yes, into.
Go.
Well done.
That's a fantastic activity. Very simple activity of just matching the tricky words, but each time Josh was having a go, he is then re-saying the tricky word. So he's telling his mum what that tricky word is. And tricky words are all about repetition. You just have to keep going with it and keep on just recognizing them. Okay, so just before I move on to that, tricky words, if you're in FS2, your class teacher would have sent you a tricky word activity to do on Seesaw. If you can't see those activities, please contact your class teacher. You may need to change your Seesaw account so that you can receive activities. But that tricky words activity, again, is like what Joshua was doing. It's a reading one and there can be a matching one, but it's really important that your child practices that every day as well. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly go on to some activities that you can do at home. These are tried and tested and really good activities that the children love. So if you want to support your child's phonics at home, these are some good activities to start with. So magnetic letters are really, really good, especially for those children who aren't ready to write or are reluctant writers. You may think that they know all the sounds, but they don't want to put those sounds onto paper. So asking them to use magnetic letters to make out simple CBC words like cat, mat, rat is a fantastic way. And you can decorate your fridge with them, so they're fab. Glitter trays or salt trays, that is just getting like a baking tray, filling it with glitter, and then using your magic finger to then write your CBC words. You can write cat, you can write rat, etc. Ziploc paint bags is literally like it says in the name, it's just paint in a Ziploc, and then you smush it all down, and then you use your finger to practice writing some letter sounds or CBC words. Again, with that, you can use you can use your cards, if you have any cards like this, and give it to your child and say, right, can you write that word jam, or can you write the initial letter j? Okay. What's in the bag game? Instead of wooden pieces, you could use real life, not real life, sorry, your animals. So you can have hippos, pandas, and snakes. Put them in a bag, and you can sing the song. What's in the bag? What's in the bag? When they pull it out, they would then go, it's a panda. Okay, what does panda start with? Oh, it's a panda. And then go forth with that as well. You can also use that with your picture cards for CBC words. Sorting activities. I've got some pictures here of like real life pictures rather than animated ones. The children can sort those into what letter they begin with, and then they could also try and write some of those letters, some of those words phonetically. Okay, tricky words. Which one is missing? So having them all lined up, and then saying close your eyes, take one away. Which one's missing? Flashcards, post-it notes as well around the house. And then our last one is caption writing. So caption writing, a caption is a smaller sentence, but it's not a sentence. So like I've got here a picture of rats, and a caption would be rats on a sack. Okay, it hasn't got a capital letter, hasn't got a full stop, it's just a caption. And so if your child is ready to write and is making writing CBC words all the time, you can then try and challenge them in writing captions. Okay. Here a picture from last year. So the children are just matching capital letters to lowercase and using magnetic letters to make the CBC words and tricky words. And then on that, the little robot rocket and the planet are simple captions that they can read. Independent writing, we encourage our children wherever possible to add some writing to their drawings or initial letters, a CBC word or even a caption. This really supports children's writing and encourages them to use their phonics independently. If your child is drawing at home, please try and encourage your child to label their drawing. If they've drawn a picture of a dog, they can try and label it, writing either the initial letter, D, or writing a CBC word, dog, and try and encourage them to do that. It'll only help them later on when we come into doing our work in our focus books, and they're more confident in using the letter sounds. Please as well, sound mats are really good. If a child needs to use a sound mat to help them write any of the CBC words, encourage them to do that. Okay, we always give give them resources that they can use to help. We have word walls, we have tricky words up, so if they just need help, they can look and use those. Okay, and our last slide, I'm just going to talk to you about the expectations that we expectations at home that we in FS expect. Children need to be reading their reading book every day, and please write a note on Seesaw telling your teacher how your child is reading at home. We will put a note up on the day that we have read with your child and tell you how they read in school. If you could then put a note up, if it doesn't have to be every day, but at the end of the week and before you return your reading book to class, if you could just write a note explaining how your child has got on reading the book at home. Did they do it independently with you? Did you need to support them a lot more? We just need to see how they are coping with reading at home. And ensure your child is understanding what they are reading. Ask them questions. Can they retell the story? Can they answer who, what, why, where questions? And can they predict what they think is going to happen just from looking at the cover of the book? So I know at the moment we are sending lilac and pink books. So obviously the lilac books don't have a story attached to it. So what we do in school, I always ask the children, what do they think is happening in the picture? So I ask, what do you think is happening in the picture? Who are these? Who do you think that is? What's that man got there? And it sparks off a conversation. Then I will then introduce the words to the children. I'll be like, okay, what does this say? But big. What's big in the picture? Can you show me what's big in this picture? And then it spirals on then. If the child said to me, oh, I think a dog's living in that is in that box, that is fine. That's fine, because that's what they think. They've given me an answer that what they think is going to happen in the book. Okay, so we just carry on, and I always talk about the pictures, and then I come into talking about the words. Okay, and then practicing tricky words every week. And this again is going to be an activity on Seesaw. Starting, I know quite a few classes have already had it, but it'll definitely be starting by next week. They need to practice that every week. You may receive those tricky words again. So if you've done phase 1 and you've sent that video back to your teacher, we then check them in school, and your child might still need a little bit of support on using them independently in school, or they might not be able to write them, apply them in their words. They might not be able to write them yet. So please don't worry if you get those same tricky words sent back to you. They just need to keep practicing them. Okay, and that's it, Mr. Rothwell. So if you have any questions, guys, could you please write them in the chat, and I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. Oh, there you go.
Hello, Miss Chelsie.
Hi, Mr. Rothwell.
Thank you. You've done a really great job with that. I know from my own personal perspective, when I was at school many moons ago, that we didn't use phonics. We used the whole language approach. And there was a big change. I know for some parents who went through that at school themselves, phonics does appear to be like an almost alien concept.
It is. It's really, really hard. And we tend to usually have lots of children coming in, especially in FS1, knowing their alphabet, which is amazing, and knowing the letter names. But it is really the letter sounds that we need to focus on. It's really important that they know what the letter sounds attached to those letter names. So yeah, it is really hard.
English is probably the most difficult language in terms of it's not very phonetic at all. We've borrowed a lot of words from Latin and Germanic languages, and so it's very difficult to learn. So thank you for your excellent presentation today. We don't have any questions actually, which means that you've done an amazing job. We've got some comments about thanking for your insightful information. I just like to emphasize what you were saying, that it really is a parent-school relationship that is going to evolve children's phonics knowledge. It does need to be from both us and the support at home, the reading is very important.
As a team, especially as an FS2 team, we are here to help, and I know Miss Kelly's the same. If any parents need extra help with phonics, or if they need to ask any questions, please email us or write us a note on Seesaw. We'd rather help you than let you suffer, because phonics is hard, and I know it's hard if your child's just struggling or if they need extra support. So please email your teacher if you need any extra support.
I remember when I first came to this school and I heard children using phonics, and it literally blew my mind. Coming from a secondary background, I was like, I don't know what you're saying. That's an A. And then, so it is very difficult.
Once they get it, it's amazing to see the progress they make. So it is really, we build the foundations in FS. So. And
you do a tremendous job, you and the rest of the team. Thank you very much. I think we have finished there with no questions. So thank you.
Oh, lovely.
Give yourself a pat on the back, Miss Chelsie. And thank you to all the parents for joining us this afternoon. I'm sure you found it very useful, as I did. So see you later, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Bye.